Hey y'all, it's me, the annoying orange. Shut up, you annoying orange, or I could shoot you.
You never realize how important good characters are until you watch 2 seconds of The Big Bang Theory. I don't know about you, but I would watch hours of the most boring-ass show of all time if it has a good cast, okay? I could care less about what they actually do. I would watch these people do their taxes for 26 episodes if they're fun to watch, okay? But if something has shitty characters, doesn't matter if they're in the main cast or just an annoying-ass side character that jump scares you every few episodes, I will drop that shit faster than my parents dropped me as a baby. And I'm not talking about characters that are meant to piss you off, okay? Like, the whole point of a heel in wrestling or Heather in Total Drama is to get you to keep watching so you can sit through 87 episodes just to see them get their ass beat. It's not that hard to tell the difference when the entirety of Hogwarts is also celebrating when, like, an elderly woman had her head caved in by a bunch of centaurs, okay? The point of her character is that even Dumbledore wanted that asshole dead. No, today I'm talking about characters that you would go to prison for. Ones that are so unbelievably dog shit that they change you as a person. Even if you don't remember anything about where they came from except how much you would have copped those 12 consecutive life sentences for them. I don't remember a single thing about Comey Can't Communicate other than the pure ancient caveman instincts of wanting to beat the shit out of everything within a 5-mile radius that I felt whenever this creature opened her mouth. Which puts her up there with, like, Minetta from My Hero because his quirk is being the world's biggest gooner. But, like, it wasn't the fact that she committed a federal crime in the 4th episode, okay? Hating a character has, like, nothing to do with whether or not they're a bad person. Vegeta is definitely responsible for making, like, 1 billion space orphans, but he's still, like, the second best Dragon Ball character after Piccolo, who has also murdered thousands of people. They could commit actual war crimes and people will still forgive them if they like the character. Like that one dude in Full Metal Alchemist who fused his 6-year-old infant daughter with a dog. I would be seeing daily thirst traps of this guy if he didn't look like a Discord mod. You know I'm right, okay? Because most of the time, people don't hate characters this much just because they did anything wrong, but for committing the much worse crime of just being really fucking annoying. For example... But first, a word from our sponsor. Guys, did you know that most websites actually sell your data for profit, okay? It's not a coincidence that you've been getting non-stop targeted ads about has-been hotel body pillows ever since you had that one really weird Friday night. Because they sell your information to these dudes called data brokers, whose entire job it is to invade your privacy for their own financial gain, and it's super cool that they don't even have to scam you to do it, they can just do that. So the reason why you have to give away your location, phone number, email, and blood type every time you just want to order some McNuggets is because they then go and sell it to the highest bidder on what's like the equivalent of eBay for your home address. And here's the thing, you can actually ask them to stop doing it, but what, are you gonna do that 300 times a day? So that's where Incogni comes in to do all that for you, because they automatically send out data removal requests on your behalf and get that one guy from Zimbabwe to stop calling 27 times a day. Incogni scans the web to find out which sites have all your data and deals with it for you on the day you start using it, so these guys can't keep making money off of flooding your email with 12 million unusable Domino's coupons. So if you want to check them out, make sure you use my code on screen for 60% off your first year. Thanks to Incogni, both for sponsoring this video and for making my email account actually usable for the first time in 10 years. Again, don't forget to use that code to get 60% off an annual plan. And now let's get back to being a hater.
Jar Jar. Jar Jar Binks.
Beg your pardon?
Jar Jar. Excuse me.
So, to set the scene, it's 1999, and we get a brand new Star Wars movie coming out after 16 years, and this shit was like the most hyped movie just of all time.
Well, there's no way it's gonna be a disappointment.
Are there any of you that think this is gonna be a lousy movie?
People were camping out in lines with a higher population than a small country and breaking down crying when they finally made it to the cinema. Basically, everything was going really great until people actually saw the movie. Because not a single person expected like a quarter of the runtime to be filled with some fuck-ass CGI fart-sniffing creature who sounds like a coked-up minion. And they must have thought that like Jar Jar was like the second coming of Christ, because they plastered his ugly-ass face all over the merch, which made it feel even more like the only reason he was there making fart jokes in a Star Wars movie was to sell tongue lollipops to small children.
Why don't they like it? We spent $250 million on this.
The hate campaign for Jar Jar Binks began the same day he was born. People were outing this man as a racist. They were making custom VHS tapes of the movie where he died horribly. Famously, his actor had like a bunch of people calling him up daily, threatening to murder him, which thankfully would never happen to any other Star Wars actors who play characters people didn't like. And ever since, Jar Jar has been like scrubbed from the Star Wars franchise with the clinical efficiency of Joseph Stalin. And the only times they've been brave enough to even acknowledge his existence is in those like weird-ass Lego specials. And even there, it's still only for like 50 seconds.
These are going to hurt you, sir.
Like, honestly, I think the only thing that people hate more than Jar Jar Binks is the crowd he was made for. And I mean, I'm the same, because personally, the only time I ever want to see George from Peppa Pig again is when I'm going 65 in a school zone. But he's not the only one. Manny Heffley, the Ice Age baby, Spider-Boy, Godzilla's ugly-ass son, that fucking dumbass kid from the Polar Express.
It's a magic train.
Actually, it's a Baldwin 284 S3 class Berkshire-type steam
And they all still haven't gotten it as bad as Caillou, who gets bullied by grown-ass adults on a daily basis for causing an actual real-life epidemic of behavioral issues, because this little shit spends every episode of his show throwing a bitch fit, and only getting away with it because he shaves his head so he looks like a Make-A-Wish kid. The review section for Stuart Little on Letterboxd is actually just the world's largest collection of fan fiction about brutally murdering a child. As if it's like his fault that he got chosen over the other kids at the orphanage. Like, bro, as if I'm gonna adopt a normal, boring-ass orphan who's just gonna be sad that they don't have parents over the mouse that can talk. But you can be memed, okay? You can have a whole-ass series on YouTube dedicated to violently murdering you for some reason. But you'll never be so washed that the only time you ever get to show up anymore is to get nuked out of existence. I didn't know shit about Scrappy Doo. I only ever knew him as like Mr. Bean in that live action movie where he pisses on Daphne. I didn't even know he just started out as some annoying ass dog that they threw into the OG Scooby cartoon to try and boost the ratings. Cause like Scrappy wasn't like the rest of the mystery gang who were a bunch of massive pussies. This dude was ready to throw hands with fucking anyone. And people were actually cool with him at first, which makes sense because this was the same decade where Pet Rocks came out. The problem was that people liked him so much that they wrote out every other character from the show until people got sick of the little shit and got the whole show cancelled. And now like the only time he shows up in Scooby-Doo is as the villain or to be passionately cyberbullied.
Wow, I haven't seen...
Look away, Daphne. We all promised each other that we would never speak of him.
Like, I'm pretty sure he only showed up in Velma because he saw that there was a new Scooby-Doo character that everyone hated and just had to take out the competition. So then maybe the only thing worse than being annoying is like the cardinal sin of mildly inconveniencing the plot in any way. Again, Vegeta we're all fine with despite him having a higher body count than that one OnlyFans girl. But my man Yamcha has been on the receiving end of the biggest smear campaign in history, all because he got jumped by the first bad guy he fought in the whole series one time. Like, if you go back and actually watch the scene, the dude puts up a pretty good fight, okay? How is he meant to know that the thing could suicide bomb itself? But it's too late, because this is his legacy now. This fucking Peter Griffin death pose is what his grandkids are going to remember him for. If he even has grandkids, because he also had his girl stolen by Space Hitler. And now he suffered the same fate as most Dragon Ball characters, where his biggest role is going to be decorating the background. Same with Shinji from Evangelion crying his way through 26 episodes in like 7 movies, which honestly would be the most realistic reaction to this series of events, but everyone just calls him a pussy anyway. You got Hot Rod from Transformers the movie that had a whole army of 8-year-olds ready to jump his ass for getting Optimus Prime killed and pissed off a whole generation of kids to the point that it's still giving 50-year-olds more of an emotional response than the assassination of JFK. It's the same reason people hate Abby from The Last of Us because they can't get over her killing Joel, even though she arguably had like the most justified reason in the entire world for doing so, given that Joel might have shot her dad in the face a little bit. Or even with like Breaking Bad and Skylar White, we're in a show about drug lords, child murderers, and corrupt lawyers. The most hated character is my bitch wife who won't let me make a meth empire. What's the worst thing Skylar even did? Smoke while pregnant? Okay, yeah, that was pretty bad. But I would argue that literally every decision she makes is completely reasonable for anyone that's in her situation, but she's still kind of annoying, so Jarvis, send in the death threats. Same with Captain Marvel, and Rey, and Korra. If only all of these characters had something in common. I just don't know what it is. Everyone hates on Amber from Invincible because she got mad at Mark for lying to her about being a superhero, but she's still nowhere near as bad as Eve's dad, who spends all of his time hating on his own daughter and making you wish Omni-Man would come back down to Earth for one more round. Another one I've been hearing about lately is Paul from Spider-Man, who people talk about like he's the spawn of Satan. Now, I've never read a comic that doesn't have Sonic the Hedgehog in it in my entire life. Everything that I know about this man has been from my Twitter feed against my will, but that's how far the hatred for this dude goes, that even I know why everyone wants this fucker hung by jumper cables. Because Spider-Man's greatest villain is actually the Marvel editorial, who decided that Peter and MJ weren't allowed to be married because they think that if Peter is ever happy or in a committed relationship, then their readers wouldn't be able to relate to him anymore. So they put out like this entire event where Spider-Man makes a deal with the actual devil to sacrifice his loving wife and future daughter to save his 90-year-old decrepit aunt. And after years of teasing whether they were going to undo this thing that literally every single person agrees was the shittest idea ever, they instead went and invented some random, sometimes insanely ripped man named Paul, who just shows up in the comic with no explanation, whose sole purpose in life is to cuck Peter Parker. Being on Twitter the same day this man's fake kids with MJ died was the hardest I've seen people celebrate since we lost Queen Liz. But here's the thing, right? They literally just put out a brand new Spider-Man run where Peter's an adult who's married to MJ and everyone fucking loves it, so what are we doing here, guys? But look, okay, I can handle annoying ass side characters that make me want to jump off a bridge, but at least they're not 1/6 of the main cast of the show, unlike maybe my least favorite character of all time. Ross Geller, aka the Antichrist. I have never, in my life, hated anyone more than Ross from Friends. If I had 2 bullets in a room with Ross, Bin Laden, and the guy that invented Captcha, that fucker is getting double tapped. Sorry. There's a reason that there's so many videos that make him look like a complete psychopath as soon as you take out the laugh track, okay?
You attacked your ex-wife? Oh, no. I tried. Maybe we could attack them together.
I don't know how this man gets laid so much. This motherfucker had like 14 relationships through the show. I don't understand why they treat him like some sort of god of Riz when he sounds like a fucking Reddit mod.
By the way, if it makes you feel any better, I happen to like 8-year-old boys.
There's a point where he like dates one of his students who is like 18 when he is 12 years older than her and also her teacher. Bro had to resort to a minor because he's already fumbled half the women in New York City. He's so down bad he tried to make out with his cousin one time.
I haven't had sex in a very long time.
Don't even get me started on all the shit with Rachel, who was someone that he was crushing on since he was old enough to be in the age range for most Minecraft YouTubers, okay? First of all, when he finally kissed Rachel after like a season of build-up, it was while he was dating another girl. Nice. So then he makes a fucking list of pros and cons of whether to stay with the girl he just cheated on, which Rachel finds out about and still decides to date him anyway. But he somehow fumbles their relationship so badly that when Rachel asks for a break, the man doesn't even wait 5 minutes to go and pound some other girl. And look, yeah, breaks are stupid and don't make any sense, but like, dude couldn't even wait a day. And then after that, Rachel still decides to give him a second chance as long as Ross could admit that he was in the wrong for sleeping with another girl 15 seconds after they broke up, and he still couldn't do it. Then later, when he agrees to marry some other girl after only a few months of dating, he says the wrong name at the altar.
Take the Emily. Take the Rachel.
Her therapist is going to be employed for years because of this man. When he got married to Rachel after they got really drunk one time, he lied about getting it annulled and then went around telling everyone not to tell her about it. Like, what was his plan? Was he just going to keep pretending like they weren't married forever? Are you insane? In one of the later seasons, when Joey wants to go out with Rachel, which is like one of the worst plot lines in the entire show, but that's not the point, Joey decides that he isn't going to do anything about it because he doesn't want to upset Ross, even though they broke up like 4 fucking years ago at that point. But he was still trying to be considerate because he's actually a decent human being. But then when Joey breaks up with the girl he was dating, Ross immediately starts plowing her. And at the end of the day, after all of the horrible shit that he did, in the final episode, he still pulls the girl of his dreams. And I will never not be mad that the show doesn't end with him getting fucking publicly executed. He's a shit boyfriend, shit friend, shit father, definitely homophobic.
Are you gay?
And I just need to say, I have nothing against David Schwimmer, okay? But I went to the UK a couple years ago when they had a Friends exhibition, and I bought a Ross plushie that my friends and I spent an entire 5 hours violently torturing. We beat the shit out of him, we ironed him, dragged his corpse through every floor in the hotel, we hung that fucker off the lobby balcony. It was just one of the best nights of my entire life. Anyway, I feel better now after getting all that off my chest, so go ahead and tell me about all the characters you hate down in the comments. I won't read it. See you guys next time.